Oh, there we go. Okay. We'll give it a couple more minutes.
I have no idea what I'm recording to, but I think I'm recording.
Somebody just did it.
It was me. I don't know where it's going though. I don't know if it's to the cloud or to my device. We'll find out.
Oh, that's okay. It just that took the pressure off of me, Paige. Now, if it doesn't get where it's supposed to go,
I
I
got
have plausible deniability now.
it.
All right. Ding dong. That means 10 a.m. and everyone's ready. I always give it a couple minutes to let everybody get in. Greg, good morning. All right.
Morning.
How are you, man?
Good, how are you?
Good. Great, actually. It's Wednesday.
Yeah,
We're bringing back TGIW, I think.
I love it.
All right, give it a
Morning,
couple.
Paige. How are you?
I'm awesome, Greg. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. I have to have the blur background. I'm donating a bunch of items and they're all right here. So we are blurring it out for everyone's eyes.
All right. Well, I don't know. What do you think? Can we get started? We're
I
gonna
think
we're gonna
so.
go slow. Okay. Good
Let's
morning, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday's call. Wow, last week was I as good as it's ever been since I've been on here. And the cool thing was it had nothing to do with me. I was so grateful for Paige and the social media side, and I kind of wanted to continue that conversation, go through some of the other scripting assets that we brought on, talk about resetting conversations, all of that good stuff. But man, there's no doubt, and Paige and I had this conversation that there's just a winning formula to the group and these group calls with, hey, what's something good that's happened over the last couple weeks? And I'm gonna let Paige start there. I certainly have one, and then if you guys have one, I'd ask just raise your hand. We'll click off this way and let y'all unmute and go through them. And then from there on, we'll hold off questions like we do till the very end. So I'll let Paige, myself, and then let it percolate a little bit on the reset side. Any good wins, some response to social media, some conversations, maybe something we've done together that doesn't come up. Yeah, please. So Paige, it's a lot going on. I've seen it in the
spot.
team thread. So I have two teams. So like I have to log over to one and then I end up with 30 notifications and it's like so and so reset. We got this going on. I'm like, I get chills when I open it up. I'm so psyched on it. So yeah, please give us at least one.
I've got like 50, but I'll start it small and let others share. And if they don't share, then I'm going to share again at the end. But launched the Kickstart last week, and we already have 40 people in it, which is insane. So that's really, really exciting. 40 people getting those text messages and those training tips every single day. And I've already had multiple people reach out and say they've got interest expressed on their first couple of posts. So I'm really fired up about that. That's like my baby. So I'm really, really excited there. I want to shout out some individual people, but I want to give them the opportunity to do that here first. So I will hold off there. But I do know that just from my own social media efforts with the Kickstart program, I've already had two resets scheduled this week from that. So that's really cool. It just shows that people are looking and people are needing this now more than ever.
Awesome. Does that mean it's my turn to go?
It's your turn. Yep, over to you.
Heck yeah. So, man, one of our agents, which I learned his first name's Philip when I was trying to find him in Opt so I could log this application. I only know him as Todd. So, man, we've worked with his clients. Geez, it's been like months, and you're talking like no quit in it. Hey, a couple reviews. Okay, we got to switch this a little bit. But we finally submitted everything. They didn't like my DocuSign that I sent it to a different email, so I've just redone all that and Forrester's okayed it. But man, we set up a plan for these business owners in Kentucky to be able to take an asset that wasn't working for them, about 40,000 bucks, dump it into What we talk about is DFL, but realistically, it's a banking policy. So it's going to give them a death benefit, which is sweet, right, Paige? But also the ability to participate in the dividends of the insurance carrier. Ultra consistent, not going to crush the market by any means, but when you're a business owner, and you guys probably all know this, right? Like liquidity is important, cash is king, right? So they have access to, I mean, 90+% of that cash value instantly. So the 40,000 bucks goes in, and they're also redeploying what they were saving, about 2,000 bucks a month. So that's just one component of it. I know there were some additional coverages that I just had Todd do on his own, and you guys can ask him about that side. But the actual retirement planning tooling and all of that, I want to say the APV was like a $9,600-ish range. So not like a massive case, but certainly, something that we were able to do to help the clients save. And then also, so, growing that asset to where, yep, they have a truck that they can pay off if they want to, or if there's an emergency in the business. And then that also set us up to say, look, even if we keep doing this, like, you got a red line, a bad red line in retirement, chance of running out of money. So why don't we redirect some earnings? Let's start putting it in retirement accounts and get you started. So they're in their 40s, not too late, but certainly moved down the right path. And the one thing that they said is like, I don't know how all this works to start, but thank you too for explaining to us very clearly how this is going to work in the future. So, and Paige, we've gone through that with people, right? Like it's like education, it just takes time. None of this stuff is taught in school. So
Yeah.
we have to, some of these meetings end up dragging out because you just have to make sure that folks understand why we're recommending what we're doing, and then
Yeah.
they're on board and they're ready to go. So that was mine, even though it's been, a couple weeks or a couple months really coming. That was a pretty good one we got to put to the finish line last week. So
I love that. I like to explain it as like a supersonic savings account because you're never going to get that return on any like savings. So when you're transferring your money to something like that that's going to build and be protected, it's like it's a no-brainer, but you're right. It is not something that any of us have ever learned until they have this conversation. So we're doing that. We're doing the good work and informing people how these things operate. And for some, like I've already gotten a lot of, this seems too good to be true. And to quote Jeff Sigworth, well, if it sucked, would you buy it? Like that wouldn't make any sense. So yeah, this is great. And it does seem too good to be true, but that's just because it's something that not very many people have known about yet.
all right, let's open it up. Anybody have any success from social media, from meetings, from the scripting that we added last week? Anything? I'm not gonna won't keep it open long. If you think about it later, we can share later, but I wanted to give everybody the opportunity who's got a win and is willing to share.
Yeah, who's got, if not, I will shout you out. I have a list.
I'll go.
Yeah.
Um, I yesterday, after like 7 days of posting, right, of consistently posting every day, right, didn't get a ton of engagement on certain ones. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to stress. Finally had somebody reach out and confirming a time before I book with Paige today, but the girl is ready to sit down and she wants to talk. So I got one that's coming on Paige's schedule for Debt Free Life.
Yes,
So
girl.
that's
Yeah.
why I'm telling you, that's why you guys cannot stress about whether or not you have engagement on it because you don't know when it's going to hit them on their algorithm. Because literally, I'm not joking you, the girl didn't see it for at least 3 days.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
lesson learned, just keep posting because eventually somebody will reach out.
Yeah, no one's, you don't even worry about who's liking it. I just go through and look at comments and see who needs information. But otherwise, don't stress over the engagement or not. Like people are going to see it at weird times. Get it out there. People are going to see it. Great job, Kayla. I love it.
Carrie Sue, let's go.
Okay, yesterday also day 7. For me, I usually make something up in Canva And so yesterday it was simply black and white print, or yeah, and it was got debt, and then went into the student loan thing. And within 5 minutes, somebody had posted or had DM'd me, and it was a friend of my sister's who became a principal a couple years ago. So she went to back to school later in life, and she's like, "How do I get rid of my college debt?" And so we're in the process of scheduling an appointment with Paige.
Awesome.
So cool.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. I bet you there's probably one person at least on here that would be pumped if you shared that screen grab of got debt because I'd imagine that little bit of humor always goes a long way. When I was
Well,
doing, yeah,
it was off the got milk, you
of
know.
course,
Yeah.
obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody knows that. So it's yeah, let me find it and then I'll put it.
Please
I'll
do.
Carrie, maybe one step further, and I don't know if Chat GPT can make this, but some sort of like animated character, but without a milk mustache, just debt written on the upper lip.
oh, funny.
I mean, I don't know. You can prompt it to do that. It's funny when I was very heavily into advertising my financial practice, it was the funny things. People don't care about like sequence of return risk or that's what we're meant to go through in planning side. It was like a picture of a cute dog and then like one thing we helped somebody with and like that got the most engagement. So the stuff well, I guess what I'm saying, Carrie, is like that is the creative way. What you're doing is like it's no surprise that that gets the engagement because it's an attention grabber. People, the metrics and all that, that's what the meetings are for instead of, hey, like what photo, and I know Paige, that's probably exactly why you said, hey, post a picture of the family because, oh, look at my son, he's cute and all of that stuff. Well, that's right in line with that, right?
Yep. It's whatever's going to get them to stop their scroll.
Awesome.
Stop the scroll. Great job, Carrie Sue.
Yeah, let me see if I can share here.
One of mine was talking about, I posted a photo of me sitting on my washer and dryer, guys, because I was so excited that I had a washer and dryer finally in my apartment. And that was the one that got the most engagement. Just get creative. It's nothing serious.
So,
That's awesome.
Okay, can you see that?
yeah,
Absolutely.
that looks great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak for the group, but if you maybe could chuck that in the Teams chat, I'm sure someone would be grateful.
Oh
Totally.
yeah.
That's a
Oh,
great thing to throw up on your story too on Facebook and Instagram. Just throw that up there.
Maybe trademark it first, Carrie Sue, so you're owed an override every time someone uses it.
Yeah, exactly.
10 cents. Awesome. Well, okay, cool. That's at least a couple. Everyone's gonna bring something next week, I feel like. So we'll keep the wins stacking. Paige, what do we want to cover now? I think like the social media thing being a hot button, like any updates there, I know in my experience, like just like anything in this business, consistency is key, right? So hey, even if I didn't see something after 3 days, 5 days, just happens to work like that sometimes. And I know your program's designed around like a month, right?
Mm.
So anything we want to cover on that side or anything like that?
Just want to emphasize that this is again like every day posting is what is important. Don't skip days. And the reason is just like what Kayla said, you never know when someone's going to see it. You never know when it's going to hit them. And also someone might see it. You might plant a seed, but not enough for them to reach out yet, and that's on them, it's not on you. But they're going to see something else in a couple days that's going to further solidify that this might be something they should look at. Then they're going to see it again. The average person needs to see something like 7 times before they hit the done button on it. So keep going. This is about reps. This is about getting in front of people. This is also about building confidence. There's a lot of facts in those posts. So you're going to be learning a lot. You're going to position yourself as an expert, and people are going to listen. And they're really going to listen if you keep showing up every single day for a month. You're going to be showing up. People are going to be listening to you. So consistency wins. That's really all I have to hit home on that.
Awesome. All right. The next thing I wanted to cover at least was, oh, where did it go? I haven't got a little checklist. Wasn't prepared for that transition so quickly. Okay. So it's right in line with the social media and like immediate network and all of those good things, right? So I went back and ran some statistics in my last I'm just going into wrapping up year 3 of doing this on like the national level and started looking at the about like 6 or so million bucks that we've utilized into annuities and insurance products for agents on that reset timeline over the last 2 years. I'm sorry, not 3 years. And I guess probably it's a bit more than that. Maybe the six of it. Anyways, that actually a lot of that came from just internal. Hey, it's myself. I came over as an agent I have an old 401k, or my parents, or my sister, or my cousin, or whatever. So having that in your back pocket to talk to some of your immediate network about might be something to explore because I'm just a data person. But I look at, again, 90-ish, 80-ish% were folks that were reset that had a direct relationship. There was a handful that came from, hey, I met with this person for mortgage protection, or it didn't make sense, or any of that stuff. But pretty high percentage was there's some relationship there. So the comfortability of just reaching out, and I think that this social media campaign obviously nails down that portion of it. But just thinking of folks that, hey, maybe this might benefit you, or you could even ask a little bit less intimidating of like, hey, I'm not really sure how this all works. You mind just having a conversation with Paige and myself and go over this and just kind of just to make sure, hey, this is like I'm going down the right path, that I'm really helping people, and just try and make it like they're almost helping you consult, but all the while we're able to ask the questions and then see if we can actually help that person. Is everybody following there?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Okay.
posted in the chat here something, an idea for that. Like, hey, brother, sister, mom, dad, like whatever, whoever it is. Like the company I just started with has been talking a lot about this debt-free life program and what they offer in addition to other life insurance stuff. And it looks really cool, but I just don't quite understand it yet. So I love you. I appreciate your opinion. So I was just wondering if you would be willing to check this out with me and just tell me what you think. I could really use practice and another set of eyes, right? It doesn't like you're not trying to like swindle them into something that they don't know what it is, but you're asking their advice. And people love to give advice. And so sharing that and just saying, hey, I don't really know, but I'd love it if you check this out with me. The point here is, first of all, to just educate people. Education is really the key behind what we're doing. And if it works out to write a plan, great. But just understanding that there is more out there than just what people think is important to know. And we want to get people on the other side of the financial curve, not where most are sitting. So that's huge. And I'll just share, Barry, if it's okay. I did it for myself. I reset myself, and my husband was reset. I did it on behalf of him. And we both have debt-free life plans. We also have infinite banking plans. So we actually have two. And we earned money from that. We earned like $2,000 or $3,000 from resetting ourselves because you make a commission off of your own resets. So that was huge. My mom had an old 401k. She was sick of the market. This was almost maybe less than a year ago, but she was sick of it. She'd lost like 100 grand in a short period of time in there. So she wanted to protect that a little bit more. And she reset herself. She set herself up with an annuity, and she made $24,000 off of that, off of her own reset. So understand that it's not just about attracting other people on your social media. This has a direct impact on the people that you talk to and that you love, right? Every single day. So think about that, right? If it doesn't work, great, that's fine. What they do with the information is up to them. But you're doing your family a disservice by not at least sharing it with them. I don't mean to sound mean, but it's serious, right? Those of you that have sat in on a reset call, post in the chat, share, like, did you learn something? Is your mind a little more opened up to really how the banking situation works and how interest rates really do hurt people if they're not being careful, right? So yeah, Kashonda, exactly. Set up with one of us, get on our calendar because it's important. I know I've talked with Crystal and her husband Corey. Crystal and Corey were actually my clients before coming here, and now Crystal's one of my agents too. So we've done a lot together and being able to set them up to be able to use money and it was just sitting in a savings account before. But now, like, it's going to be earning that interest rate and the dividends, and they can still use that money because that's how these are set up, right? Like Barry said in the beginning, it's not locked away for years and years, right? It's accessible and liquid. So just know that, right? Giving them the information. If they move forward, great. It's not about that, though. It's about just getting people to understand how this works. Sorry, Barry, I jumped in.
No, absolutely. No, that's perfect. Um, and if you have a question on that, I would ask just write it down, or you can put it in the chat, but we'll open it up at the end for questions. I want to hit a couple more pieces, and I know Paige has probably one or two more things as well. So I want to highlight a solution for you guys, something so outside of debt-free life, one of the tools that I've used and am still presenting, did yesterday, and it really solves a nice piece of information of the plan for certain clients, and it does pay our agents. So and switch gears on like tool usage and planning. So typically when we're coming into a holistic retirement plan where there's several dynamics, but so many people, I've always asked this question, like, what's the savings for? And that might sound silly because someone's probably like, well, I've saved so I can live, right? I can retire, I have income and all of that. But that's not always the case. People have different goals. Can be, hey, when I pass, I want, X amount of dollars to go to my kids or church, or how's the tax efficiency of all of that work? And so I don't ever want to assume, but typically what we're going to start with is eliminating, I should say, variables, establishing what it is they want to accomplish, and then start eliminating variables. And one of those is income. I want to know that, hey, Social Security, pension, and your assets are going to produce enough income to where no matter what happens, there's no liability there. We know that income is satisfied, and then that allows us to use some other incredible tools, grow that money so you can give it to your kids, church, whatever it is you want to do. So what and those of you that have met with me, I say this extremely clearly is, an example. Paige and I have no loyalty to any insurance carrier. We're independent. We can leverage hundreds of products and thousands of products, hundreds of providers, whatever that looks like. So I'm constantly pitting one against another to know which one's the best. My only loyalty is to you, Mr. and Mrs. Client. So in searching that, we've brought on, and I've used this actually on personal clients, but it's just now available to like the Symmetry world, which is pretty cool. So this product is a guaranteed income product utilizing an annuity shell. So in real simple terms, guys, you're able to participate in a portion of the upside of the market, none of the downside, and the client pays a simple fee on those assets to have income for life. So you hand the insurance carrier a lump sum of money, and then they know based on age, if there's a spouse, all of that stuff, how to guarantee that income for life. And the longer we wait to turn it on, that income grows no matter what goes on in the market. So think about this in the scope of what you do, protecting mortgages, protecting families. This is just right in the protection line. It's protecting retirement and protecting income. And you're licensed to do those things. I'll save this for the end, but one of the kind of advanced market guys had like a 5-pillar protection plan that he's licensed to do, just like all of you. And I'll give you those. So when you talk to folks, you can say, hey, look, I'm licensed to do this, this, and this. So, anyways, so if you'd like, I can pull up the example. But what's really cool in this person's instance, again, those of you that have met anyone that's going to go through the planning process, we're going to offer them a completely free State of the Union address on the finances. So, hey, I'm saving this. I want to retire here. They have to go get their social security numbers, pension, account statements, numbers, all that stuff. But it allows us to give a real clear path. And you guys have seen me go through those. Hey, here's where you are. Here, if you keep doing what you're doing and expenses stay where they are and all of those great things, here's your success chance of retirement if you keep doing what you're doing. So it allows us to identify potential gaps, right? And one of them being income. So with this individual specifically, income was a problem. Now, they were doing what they could to go back to work part-time and they were able to solve that. But originally it was, hey, here's everything I got. We need to make this work. So we earmarked 3 years worth of income so we could turn this on in year 4 and utilize the exact same amount that they were used to drawing to fund that. And this is what that looks like in a very simplistic chart way. So there we go. So 125,000 goes in. That withdrawal benefit is bonused immediately. And then every year we wait to delay, that annual income amount goes up to where the point we were at about $1,000 a month, which between Social Security and pension was enough to satisfy income needs. That's all guaranteed, guys. If the account outperforms it, their income goes up. But those of you that have gone through this with me, I always say, look, I'm going to show you the guarantee because if I call you, if Greg calls you, if Carrie Sue calls you and says your income's higher, you're not going to be pissed at me, are you? Well, no, obviously not. But inversely, if I call you and say, hey, we predicted this, but you're only getting this, you're going to be super mad at me. So we make sure to eliminate that. We're always going to under promise and over deliver. So this nailed down the income. Person was grateful. We took away their big kind of gleaming problem of running out of money. But what I want to share with you guys, what this tool doubles as, which is very, very cool, is who here it really lays into, and raise your hand if you want, or put it in the chat or whatever you're comfortable, really lays into living benefits when it comes to life insurance. Anybody talk about that? Is that important to anybody? I can only see like 3 heads nodding because I'm sharing. So I'm assuming everybody does. I'm just going to assume that everybody talks about it, right? So in this right-hand column, AWA, and that stands for annual withdrawal amount if chronic illness income multiplier is activated. So same premise as those living benefits. Guys, as long as there is $1 in the account, they're able to turn this on and they have that doubled income for 5 years. Now, if there's $1 in the account, surely it's going to run out. That stays in place for 5 years, and then after that, the income just reverts back to that original amount. It's going to block that out. Sorry. I try and redact things so we don't have clients' names. I'm sure it doesn't really matter, but anyways, does that make sense to everybody? Do you think that's helpful to say, hey, look, maybe we don't have a long-term care plan in place, or maybe they don't qualify for insurance, but when it comes to financial game planning, we can actually still cover your backside if something happens to you and or your spouse. This works in both areas. This person happens to be single, but there's a couple this week that I'm going through with clients that are married. That income is transferable directly to the spouse, even if it wasn't their money that funded it, if something happens to one of them. And if something happens to one of them and they qualify for that chronic illness multiplier, doesn't matter which one, that doubles again for that 6 years, as long as there's $1 in the account. Now, I've seen this in the past, but if there's $1 in the account, as soon as it's exhausted, that doubler goes away. This company keeps it in force no matter what, again, for 5 years. So this is only one bonus of utilizing something like this. There's tax mitigation strategies that come along with this, but I just want you guys to keep in mind that everything that we're going through, Paige, myself, all of the other experts on this, it's all built around the same thing, the same conversations you're having every single day, is that we're here to protect you. You're licensed to protect mortgages, protect families, protect from debt, protect retirement, and protect running out of money. Those are like five pretty cool principles, or I'm going to give you a sixth one, protect unnecessary taxes. Like that covers a pretty wide range that everybody on this call, assuming they've gotten their life and health license, is licensed to protect people. I think you can make quite the impact having the ability to protect in those six ways. Make sense? Any questions on this one? Oh, I'll tell you what. I guess we can come to that at the very end. Um, no, I'll open it up. What the heck? Because I don't want to get off of it. If somebody has any questions on how that works, you can raise your hand, unmute, chime in if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll move on that.
I'll just say it really quick. I think a big takeaway for that is that people want to know how this impacts them. Yeah, people want to protect their families. They want to set up everyone around them to be okay. But also, we want to, we're selfish beings, right? We want to know what's in it for us. We want to know that this plan is going to be something that can help us now while also protecting our family at the same time. And that's what we get to do. The living benefits really are everything. And I think that's what captures people's attention more than just, hey, your family's going to get $100,000 if you die. That doesn't land as well. So.
Yeah, no doubt. It's tough killing. I've certainly sat on those meetings, right? And you kill off the husband, and he's like, "Well, cool, I get to pay for this thing, but I don't have any benefits." So,
Yeah.
and this all comes together, right, guys? So, and if you've already nailed down the insurance for the client, great. If not, I'm always going to go back to why not, right? Because that's still just because this thing doubles is that it's not like it's a home run. I think insurance is still a pillar, a cornerstone of a financial game plan. So I'm always going to go back and edify your recommendation on that. So potentially you guys can still get that business. My end of this is building a bulletproof. God, how was it said the other day? One of the other advisors, I was on a call helping them, and he said something like, "By the time I'm done with you, I want you to consider yourself wrapped in bubble wrap, bulletproof casing, and anything else you can think, so we can push you off a financial mountain, and you're going to be fine if when and ever you hit the ground." Like that's our goal. So nailing down all these different dynamics. And then when you guys see we get the coverage part taken care of, the insurance side, the annuity, all of that good stuff, then we're allowed to take them to a new level that their current advisor, their current team can't take them on the managed side. They can't get into the technical analysis that we do. They can't get into the alpha, the returns on investment, all of that stuff that we can do in the market. But you don't get those risk fund tools, you don't get the home runs without making sure that you're squared away, that your perimeter is taken care of, and you're not outflanked by any sort of disastrous situation. Which again, how does that play into what you guys do? We protect families, we protect them together. Any of you guys that we've had that intro call, that's kind of like one of the first thing I say, right? Hey, Rob and I are here to we're aligned. We protect families together. I handle the finance side. He handles the insurance side. Boom, boom. We're here to protect. Any questions? I want to jump and move on. And this one, I guess I won't segue. Any questions before I move on? Okay. You guys have my contact if there's anybody that there's a question on that, but you know my answer. It's always better just to have an intro call, talk to them. Let's see if it makes sense. So the next thing I want to bring up is I just kind of fire from the hip and am very good at that because I've spent like years and years of doing this. Well, we got people that are very, very new. So one thing, and I was so grateful for like the persistence and the consistency of asking, and I'm calling out Mr. Dave Lappin. on, hey, how, like, what do we ask on these questions? So I had a sidebar conversation with him and Bridget, and I threw together some bullet points, and then Bridget went and like completely ironed them and made them pretty so they're ready to be used. I want to bring those up, but show of hands, check mark in the chat, whatever. Has anybody seen those PDFs that we dropped last week? Any questions? You can put those in the chat, or kind of has anybody had the ability to utilize those? Because that's what I really want to see is plan and action, so then I can help tweak it. Remember, I can operate on the fly because I am doing this side. We wanted to make this as general as possible. So someone who's brand new, whether they have a sale or a no sale, a policy or a no policy, could ask these questions. So I'm hoping that they were designed in such a way. So I'm going to pull them up. While I do that, if you guys have questions, have thoughts, have been able to use them, please, 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 please bring it up. Raise your hand so we can go through it. All right. So this was, gotta get everybody in the way now. Okay. So first of all, anybody show of hands utilize these in the last, whatever it was, 6 or 7 days? Or has anybody even seen them? Let's start there. Okay, cool. All right. I got a couple people pointing to it. Okay. So I want to like my goal here was very much simple, easy transition, right? Or our goal, I should say. And I'm giving all the credit to Bridget on this and Dave, right? Is how do you make it as simple as possible? Hey, and I think that the easiest way is getting out of the solution. I think that at least what I've heard and seen is, hey, what's your income gap? Some people might not even know, forget about like what it is, dollar amount. Might not even know what that means. And agents might not know what that means to how to explain it, right? So let's take it a little bit easier. I love like, hey, do you think it'd be easier to retire without all the debt? That makes sense. If you're comfortable asking that question, keep doing it. But this was meant to kind of bring everyone to the same level. If you're brand new, you're able to ask these questions, right? And I don't have them pulled up. I have everybody so I can kind of see everybody. But I know going off of memory, what is the most important financial concern? So let's go. Hey, yep, we went through mortgage protection. I think I understand sometimes those calls and certainly myself going through the insurance questions to place some of the IBC, IUL, all of that stuff can take a lot of time. So my recommendation, gauge the client. If they're pretty, I mean, I would say like over it, like they've been on with you for 2 hours, we submitted an app, we got approval, like maybe save this for the 3 day, the 2 day, the 1 week follow-up. Hey, everything's in place. I just wanted to address any other concerns. And the way that, we do that is, look, we've protected the mortgage. Congratulations. That was clearly like a huge financial concern of yours. What else keeps you from sleeping at night? What's your next most important financial concern? And of course, Dave asked a great question. Hey, some people like they don't respond to that right away. How do I kind of pry that out of them? So I said, look, in the same thing that we keep covering guys here week in and week out, my clients, whether you've had someone or not, you can say this with confidence because you've again heard us go over this. My clients usually they all share one or all of these concerns tied together, whether it's taxes, debt, retirement, income in retirement, and let me pull this back up because again, I made everybody big so then I could see it. Stock market or economy taking a downturn, paying too much in taxes during retirement. It could be any time, right? Running out of money later in life, making sure their kids or heirs or their church is set up financially, or managing debt. And guys, you do not need to go in this order. I mean, realistically, debt could be at the very top, or setting up their kids. I think that given the conversation, you should know more about your clients, obviously, than us when we're making these generic statements. But just here's a real easy way to say, I have clients that share one or all of these concerns mixed together. What of these, do any of those sound like something you'd like to get a better handle on? That was great. Great. And then if yes, move towards the booking transition. No, the same. And no, this almost operates as again, another way to really like put the nail in that, like, okay, I understand that protecting your mortgage isn't a top priority right now, and put the earnest back on the potential client, right? Like, this isn't important to you. I understand. But out of curiosity, when you think about your overall financial picture, what do you say is your most important financial concern if protecting the family is not one? And I would even say like protecting the family, because again, like that one really hits home pretty hard. You're telling me like protecting my family is not important. Now, prepared for someone to get a little bit, snappy towards that, but I think that it'll generate a response of, hey, and again, you can say a lot of my clients, they share these type of concerns, and just go through it. And it'll give you guys and girls a good prompt to dig in and say, well, look, we can cover that. I I would stray away. I like to keep everything very personable. I would stray away from, we have the whole division that does that. I would say, no, I have a girl that can does it. I have direct access to Paige Durgan's schedule. She's the expert on the team. Put a face with a name, put a name with a job right away, and we're going to get on her calendar. I am one of few that have direct access to her calendar. I can book it today. What time works best for you? And utilize your ones and twos, how that works, right? Day or night, tomorrow or the next day, or, obviously have her schedule pulled up. Or I have a guy that does that type of financial planning. Barry, I know him personally. I actually have access to his calendar. Let's get you on right now. Because Paige, you probably run the first meeting very similar, right? Is like, hey, it's just an introductory call. Let's gather some information. Let's talk about it a little bit more. Yeah. So, um,
Yeah.
any questions on that?
And I'll just say that, again, emphasis on I've had people reset clients who like we have nothing, and I've had some that are very detailed, and both result in very similar ways. Now, here's what I'll say. If you've got a lot of information on your client, the call is a little bit shorter. But, at the same time, it's okay. Don't get overwhelmed with like, hey, this is like, we need to have all these things or else Paige is going to be mad at me because the reset isn't like what she needed. Like, it's okay. Barry and I are both really chill. We just want to get to know the client and make them feel comfortable and help them know kind of what the process looks like. So that's really the purpose, right? To get them to like us and to know that we could help them if they want the help. So yeah, big, big emphasis on that. Whatever you can get, great. If you don't have everything, that's okay too. It is very much like we're just getting to know you.
Yeah. Yes. I kind of blew over that part, Paige. You're right. Because on the debt-free life side, like, it's really nice to have all the interest rates and all that. Like, hey, we can call right to action. But again, if you want to make it a little bit less intrusive, hey, let's just have a conversation. I kind of say this in the beginning too. If at the very worst case, we're going to part as friends, you're going to learn something, and hopefully you can help yourself from there. If you want to do a deep dive, we don't charge to do it. So, and a good example, you just never know what someone's going to tell you. I was on with Paige and one of her clients last night, and I was so bummed because I wanted to talk about this today, but they had a crazy storm out there and her internet cut out, and I didn't even realize. I was just so engaged in talking to the person, didn't even realize she jumped off until I got a text. But this individual, they were building a place abroad, and it was basically like everything they had in savings. And they're like, how do we do better? And I just said, look, it would be irresponsible of me to talk about investing your money with a 1 year time horizon. Like, it just is. That's not the right thing to do. You should be taking a guaranteed rate. high yield savings, maybe use some treasuries, or you guys are familiar with money market. I mean, something that isn't volatile and tied to the market. Because yes, we could hit a home run for you, but if things turn around, it could be really, really bad. And you want to make sure you have that principal. So like Paige and I would actually do better if you said, hey, I have, 100,000 that's earmarked for this project, but I don't know what to do with this extra 50, whatever. And so this is after probably 45 minutes of just talking through the property. I was so interested. I've been where they're building abroad a few times. Um, and the gentleman said, well, I have, like 2 Bitcoin, which if anybody tracks that price, like that's a pretty good amount of assets. And I'm like, hey man, like, yes, we can help there. Like, do you, and again, this was at the very, like, just trying to get off. So, and I know Paige did a detailed dive with them. It was very much, she gave me like a huge email breakdown of where everything is, but that just never came up. So you just never know until we ask the questions. Sometimes they may, I don't want to say forget, they may just, not be thinking about it. We may ask a different question that prompts, but I would just always say if we can have the conversation, it's always going to be better that way. In the worst case, again, they learn something and they can go about their business. And I may even say, hey, look, like Michelle's the top gal on our team. Like clearly you liked her enough to have this conversation. Maybe there's someone else in your network this would make sense for. And now you have Michelle's number and you can call her. I'm not too proud to ask for referrals even when we don't do business. So, worst case, they're going to learn something, right, Paige, and they can go about their business. But most people are going to engage and have the second and third meeting, especially considering we're doing this planning for free. So any questions on, I want to open it up to questions on everything. I did see, I'm trying to watch the chat at the same time as like watching all you guys. I guess I'm still sharing my screen. I'll stop that. I'll send, someone did ask for that again. It's in the, I didn't see who asked for it, but it's everything that we go over on these calls is always going to be put in the advanced market section on Teams. So the Social Security information we went through, the PDFs on the trainings, the scripting, all of that stuff is in there. And if you can't find it, all you have to do is just shoot me a message, give me your email, I'll email it to you. But we try and make those things like that thread is really designated just for uploading, not really for questions. So trying to keep everything from getting buried. I know you can find my calendar link. If Pages isn't in there, we got to get it in there. We'll have to find the right people for that one. So it's really meant, so you guys have access. And then if you have questions, you're able to reach out directly. A lot of ground covered today, but we got 10 minutes left. I want to make sure if anybody has questions that they're able to ask.
Yeah, anything related to anything at all. Doesn't even have to be exact content from today. Any questions around resets?
Yeah,
Okay, I have a
Chris,
quick question.
awesome.
How different would the clientele look for the debt-free life versus the income for life?
You want me to answer, Paige?
I can. Can you ask that one more time, Crystal? I didn't understand quite well, and that was on
Well,
me.
maybe I don't understand, So we have like the debt-free life process, but then there's the income for life. Is that the same thing? It's
Mm,
not the same thing, right?
No. Nope.
no.
The way I'm understanding is income for life is like a larger asset deposit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. Sorry, my brain broke for a minute while you were talking, but it's back now. So yeah. So there's a couple different camps. I like to explain it. So the debt-free life part of it is using participating whole life. So you've got the cash growth, you've got the dividends that are building. So you have that, and that can become an income providing asset down the road. We're just using it at first to eliminate debt so that your income goes further. So some people do use that as just an infinite bank. If they don't have debt, then they can just set that up as an infinite bank. But then there's also the side that Barry handles, which is like all of the like retirement, all things that are like constant income down the road in addition to it. Am I explaining that right, Barry?
So this is exactly what I'd say, and I don't have any shame in the game of the plug. So what we've developed that's gone really, really well is a lot of people have debt interest, like interest in the DFL. And what's happened is the agent's gone to Paige. Paige will have a meeting, and then she already knows what I'm going to ask because we've had enough meetings together that she does a lot of the digging. And then she'll say, nope, you know what? Like maybe this doesn't make sense. Or in addition to this, we can help you with this. And she's brought clients to me too. So people have booked direct with myself. And then we also have this kind of team dynamic where we're able to do both. So, Crystal, the one thing I would say, and I always try and make this a point on these calls, is don't ever get into a solution forward mindset with the client, meaning like don't profile them and say, oh, they're going to be only a good fit for this. Because that was honestly the point of my story I was just sharing is like, you never know what somebody needs until we start asking the question. And that's why it's imperative and important for me, and I know Paige as well, that all of you, when you're doing these resets, are on the calls because you'll start learning the questions we're going to ask. It's very much similar. It's very much, hey, the same thing, repeatable. But then you'll know, and then you can start gauging maybe, hey, this person sounds like a better fit for here. But that's why those questions that I put, and I lost her on here, Bridget helped iron out, is very much open ended, letting the person just, hey, us as the agent is going to stop talking and let the client start talking. Hey, what's your most important concern? Because we can address any of them. Don't ever say, like, oh, just because you don't know, remember, you have someone that does that and you know their name, you have their schedule, all of that good stuff. So try and, I would, I would try and say, hey, look, don't worry as much about the client profile, like who you're talking to, more or less. You have the solution, but you don't have to get into it when you're prompting them to book. Does that make a little bit more sense, Crystal?
It does. And with all the information, I just wanted to make sure I had it straight in my
Of
brain
course.
that we were talking about different things,
Yeah, yeah.
both
And
options.
the DFL side is very straightforward, right? Someone has X amount of consumer debt, all of that, and they're looking for a solution, and you have it. The holistic planning, like the retirement side, long planning, all of that good stuff, like that's where we're actually going to tie all those things into one. So, but it is a different client. The honest to goodness truth there is like we'll make a big impact for folks that are older, have established a savings plan. They just don't know how it's going to get them to the end goal. Most people, believe it or not, they just have their blinders on and they're just going to shove money into a 401k. I love 401k. I'm certainly a fan of it. I'm never going to say don't utilize. Well, I don't want to say I'll never say don't utilize it, but there are a lot of reasons to utilize it. There's some reasons I wouldn't utilize it, and we'll go over that. But like people are just conditioned into accumulation mode, and they're very much have no idea what happens when it's distribution time, i.e., we're retiring and I have to make this produce income. So that's where we're able to tie everything together. Does that make more sense?
Yep, it sure does. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Guys are easy today.
Barry, I had a question. Which carrier were you talking about where it has that living benefits rider that will last
Great
5
question.
or
Yeah,
6
that's
years?
Delaware Life. The cool thing there though is Jeff, like, and we've had this conversation, right? Is if we work together on that, I'm gonna submit it through Advisors Excel. So like you're paid direct from Symmetry. You don't have to appoint with Delaware, or any of that stuff. So guys, you don't need to go to your upline and say, "Oh, I really like this. I need to get appointed so Barry and I can work together." You don't have to do that. That's what's great with licensed only agent. You're licensed, the pay goes to Symmetry, you're paid direct from them. And then the nice thing is my name's on the contract, so I'm able to maintain the relationship along with managing the assets, and you don't have to worry about, oh, I need to meet with them every year and go through crediting and changing investments or any of that stuff. I just thought that was a really cool tool, as a lot of you probably don't know, like with interest rates coming down, some of the carriers' bonuses are reducing, income numbers are going down. Delaware's still they're actually like the highest, but that benefit, there are more things to look at than just that. There are some that are around there, but they don't allow the doubler for that chronic illness and things like that. So it's just, again, that's what I'm here to know, those type of products. And I'm never going to profess that I'm the expert. Every single week, I'm trying to learn what else is new, because these things, they change all the time. They're all competitors, right, guys? And I'm able to go out and say, okay, well, I really like this nationwide, but now Delaware has something cooler and it seems to work better. Cool. I'm just going to go over there. We don't have loyalty to any of them. Our loyalty is to the client. So we're able to be very nimble. And one that I'm meeting with again Friday, we actually presented a different solution. I'm going to go to that because she's single. How great would that be if she something happened and she needed in-home care and she just had double the income? We're also using it as a drawdown technique to satisfy required minimum distributions. So in the future, we're able to reduce taxes and then get her taxable income to bare bones, almost nothing. So very cool planning tools. And all of these things are, again, accessible to the team, everyone on this call, and they're able to be compensated through them. So I know I just threw out a lot of extra probably language, and everyone's nodding along to pretend like they're just satisfying me, but it's very cool stuff that you have access to. I'm so behind on the chat, guys. So if you're asking a question, I would just say we got 5 minutes, unmute and fire away.
I've been looking at it. I don't see any questions that
Okay, cool.
have not
Cool.
already been answered.
Um, Before we jump, and we can obviously stop the record. I just want to pull up Teams and just make